Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Gallowgateshots FPL Show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Daniel.
Hey, it's another good week in Fantasy Premier League. I think, are we both looking at green arrows? Not to put a spoiler alert straight in, but let's start a minuscule one. Better
Small
than
green
nothing.
arrows would be better if I didn't bench 10 pointers.
Oh, do you know what? I was looking forward to that. You've just went straight in. So this week we will be talking about things like, I don't know, buying Heung-min Son and wasting a transfer, or we could be talking about Dan thinking it's a good idea to bench Kepa's 10-pointer and play Danny Ward instead.
In my defense, that wasn't a decision. I don't think it was a decision I fully made sober.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. We'll put an asterisk next to that transfer then. Isn't this game fun? Hey, isn't it fun? Now, speaking of fun, how do you like this? If you like fun, you should subscribe to the Gallowgateshots YouTube channel because it's got lots and lots of amazing Newcastle United related content and just lovely football content as a whole. Lots of fun, lots of exciting chat, especially with the transfer window open. Everything that you want about Newcastle United is here on this channel, plus some FPL goodness mixed in too. Does that sound good to you, Dan? If you weren't subscribed, would you subscribe after hearing that?
100% I'd subscribe. It's next to nothing as well. It's like less than a coffee a month, isn't it?
Oh, to become a member, it is, yeah. It's £2.99 a month to become a member, but we'll get onto that in a minute. You don't even have to pay anything to subscribe. That's how good it is. There is no fee. It just pops straight into your subscriptions on the YouTube channel, and you just get to find out whenever we do new videos, which is very often because we're a committed bunch.
We are.
So yeah, that's that done. Like the video as well after that, because I feel like I put a lot of effort into it. Normally I don't really bother too much, but that was some hefty preparations.
You've done well there.
Like,
well done.
Thanks. So, how's your week gone so far? I feel like we should talk about, I say so far because there's still 2 games left. How has your team done?
Let's make it quick. Aristide Balaga's on my bench, 10 points down the drain. Trippier 9 points, White 8 points. I did play White. I think Tottenham are rubbish. Shaw's 2 pointer, but he's got Palace coming up. Rashford with 10, vice captain, unfortunately. Foden with 1, he can get in the bin. Salah with 2, he's going in the bin. Zaha with 2, I can't wait for him to go in the bin. Che Adams with 9, Haaland captain with 4, got another game to play, and Martial with 1. Where can he go, Matt? Where can he go? He can go in the bin.
Bin.
Happy to bench Rodrigo's 2, Walker's 1. However, Dunk sit in the middle of them with a clean sheet, 5 points, because I believe he got booked. That's me, 50 points, marginal green arrow. Still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fixtures if everyone's fit. Martial's got a yellow flag now. So bring it on.
Hey, do you know what? That was a whistle-stop tour. That was good. Yeah.
No one cares about my team more than me, so let's not bore anyone.
Right, okay, fair enough. I'll talk about my team now as well, very quickly. I wasn't dumb enough to bench Kepa. I have contemplated selling him this week, though, but we'll come on to that. Got Kepa's 10 points. Trips got me 9. Botman got me 6. Shaw got me 2 with a game to play. Kevin De Bruyne got me 3 with a game to play. Captained Rashford for 20 points with a game to play. Got Son's 2-pointer with a game to play. Martial got me 2, hopefully with a game to play, fingers crossed. Matoma got me 6. Haaland got me 2 plus another game. And Martinelli got me 2. Oh no, Martial got me 1. Martinelli got me 2. Martial has the game to play. Martinelli doesn't. So pretty good. I think 65 minus 4. So 61 if you're good at maths. That is 61. So yeah, I'm doing all right. I was 3.4 million at the start of the week. I'm now 2.9 into that top 3 million bracket. I'll put that in my Twitter bio right now. 246k game week rank. So all going. Sorry.
I'm doing all right. Such a humble brag, Matt. I'm doing all right. 61. It's just the 21 points above the average. Just in the top 300k as far as that game was concerned. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I was 4.4 million before the restart. So now I'm getting to a point where I've almost halved me rank in 4 to 5 weeks, which is wonderful, but it was desperately needed. I'm quietly, I say quietly, I'm saying it now when we get like 200 odd people watch, but I'm quietly hoping that I get within the top 500k. I think that's realistic. I don't want to aim any higher than that,
Yeah.
but with the amount of game weeks left, I'd be very pleased to be able to get in the top 500k, which is horrible to say. Like thinking about what I'd targeted at the start of the year to
Yeah.
say this now, but I'd feel like I would earn some small amount of respect if
I think
I
you
did
pushed.
that.
But what I will say is I think it's going to be chip strategy. I think could just be so useful. How many chips got left? All 4.
All of them, not used any.
Same.
So
Whereas
that
people have tripled Haaland this week. So
there'll be loads of bench
get
boost
to
as
that
well
bank.
being played.
Say that again.
There'll be loads of bench boost and things like that played
Yeah.
like already. People at the start of the year,
Exactly.
like first game week, I remember people like doing their bench boost and things like that, and they'll still be ahead of me. Whereas, like you say, should be confident in the knowledge that I've got a lot of chips to potentially gain on people, come the end. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. I
So
think it's going to be really, really important how people use their chips. So I'll be tripling. I'll probably triple on Haaland, but it'll be at a more opportune time, I think.
yeah, I think this week in particular has shown me. Obviously, I'm very premature here because it could all go absolutely tits up in the next game because they're playing Tottenham. But this week in particular, so far, has shown me, if anything, taking the right punt at the right time on a captain that isn't Haaland can go your way. But people who watch this show regularly will very much remember the game week, and I can't remember which game week it was. I went against Haaland when he got his like 30 odd pointer, like
hat-trick against Man United.
Hat-trick against Man United, and I didn't captain him. And
2 assists as well, didn't he, for Foden or something like that?
It was something stupid like that. I really like. I don't need to be reminded of it. I did it myself, but at the same time, that just shows that there is gains to be made. And
Yeah.
if I took my own advice as well, like looking back, if I hadn't have brought in Son because I had all that money sitting there from Sterling, if I'd went with my own advice and brought in Morgan Gibbs White, I mean, Son could still go absolutely mental against Man City, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But if I'd stuck to me guns, I would have been 8 points better off with having Morgan Gibbs White. And he has probably more favourable fixtures now as well. But I'm sure we can chat about him in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's, with the way the fixtures have fallen now and the way certain midfielders are playing, there's definitely scope to take some more punts and get on those more differential picks before everybody else does. Would you agree?
I agree. I totally agree. Let's get into it.
So I'd say the most differential rich team that you could probably look at and say there's the most upside at the moment is Brighton. Do you reckon?
Yes.
And it's kind of obvious because they're off a 3-0 win against Liverpool. They've scored 12 goals since the restart in 4 games. They're not even quietly going about their business. Like everyone can see who watch football that they are a very good attacking team.
Yeah.
So it's who we target. We mentioned Mitoma last week, who's got 6 points, 8 points, and 7 points in his last 3 weeks at 4.9 million. So he represents good value, and he's like creeping up in ownership. Is there anybody else that's caught your eye from Brighton?
Yes. Obviously, I think it's quite reactionary for people to go for someone like March because of his 2 goals. He's obviously did very, very well, but I don't know how sustainable that is, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
it's quite tough with how they play. Just they're a bit of an issue in terms of rotation. So
agreed.
I really like the look of Ferguson. He has got in his last 3 games 5, 11, and 5, but in those 3 games he's only played 165 minutes. That's a 30-minute, 70-minute, and 65-minute. So he's not nailed on for minutes, which is a bit distressing.
You look distressed.
Yes. And Danny Welbeck's back in business, back with a bang, back with a goal. 24 minutes he got against Liverpool. And ultimately, the minutes that Ferguson got were because Welbeck was injured. So although maybe a week or two ago I was hot on Ferguson, I think now Danny Welbeck at 6.5 is perhaps one of the forwards to go for. But looking into the midfield, Gross, March, both on 88 points currently. Gross is, I think, the 4th or 5th highest player to outscore their XG in the league this season.
Oh, right, okay.
So he's not really getting that many chances. He's just a very good player. He's technically excellent. Obviously, Trossard's completely off the table after his bust up in training with the gaffer. McAllister's coming back into it. But I think for the price of 4.9 million, Matoma is really, really hard to look past.
Yeah.
And it's important that we don't forget about the defence. So Lewis Dunk is absolutely nailed for minutes. But Estupinian, at the minute, looks like he's playing every game. He's playing it in a slightly more attacking role. That being said, Dunk is a little bit more of a threat from set pieces. And I think Dunk's more likely to get bonus points as well. So I think you could go for a nice even spread of one midfielder, one forward, one defender from Brighton. And go for go for the triple. And I think it's backed by the fixtures that they have. So that Leicester away, Leicester are terrible. They're a terrible team.
I think they're going down. Just FYI, I reckon they can't. I don't think they've got enough money to sack Brendan Rodgers. Personally, I think his combo's too high. I think it was rumored very early on when they were struggling, and I think the proof's in the pudding. That I think if they wanted to sack him, they would have done it earlier.
Yeah,
and it's the fact that they can't offer big contracts. So like a lot of their big name players want to leave, and I think they don't want to fight. That squad just don't have any fight. While we're on Leicester, while I was looking at shots on touches in the opposition box, Leicester had 9 touches in the opposition box against Nottingham Forest. Bearing in mind, Brighton, let me have a look. Brighton managed 36. And we were on like 33 or something like that. So 9 touches in the opposition's box for Leicester. They are screwed. They don't have any attack. Daka's not getting the chances. Vardy's past it. They're having to start Perez, who is probably as low as on confidence he's ever been in his life. So, yeah, I think Brighton against Leicester, God, if they don't at least get a clean sheet, they're going to get tons of goals. Yeah. Sorry, I totally butted in there, but I just wanted to say my piece on Leicester.
Good, great info. Bournemouth at home next. Bournemouth are terrible team. Then they've got Palace away. Palace are a terrible team.
Yeah, those fixtures, oh my God. I might have to get another.
And I think Brighton are a team that'll cut Fulham open. I think Fulham are quietly a very good team. When I saw their team lineup against us, I was thinking, you know what? That's a cracking team. That is in my opinion. If that was in any other league, that's a Europa League team. Minus Tim Ream, but Leno in goal, like Palinha holding midfield, Mitrovic, Pereira, like
Willian back, like bringing back the golden years.
Yeah, rolling back the years. They do have, I think, a Europa League level set of players and a really good manager. That being said, we've just seen what they've done to Liverpool, and I think Fulham they concede a lot of chances to us, and I do think that at the minute for Newcastle, we're a team that are just struggling a little bit in that final third with quality. I think obviously the way that we set up, hounding everyone, the work rate, the tactical analysis of where to press is what is affording us so many chances. But at the minute, the quality is letting us down a little bit. Brighton, I think, don't have that issue clearly with how many goals they've scored since the restart, compared to our 1 in Premier League games. And I think they'll punish Fulham with that. And Fulham have to play a little bit more expansively. In fact, no, sorry, they're away, aren't they? So yeah, I mean, I just think Brighton will do the job over them. They then got us away, which you wouldn't fancy anyone to come and get anything against us.
That game might not. I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but that game potentially doesn't go ahead if we get into the final.
Yes.
We'll not mention any more on that.
And then you've got West Ham at home, and West Ham are terrible. So they're playing out in the next 6 games, one promoted team, well, technically 2 promoted teams, but we'll put the Fulham as a promoted team to the side, and then 4 terrible teams. I think if ever there was an opportunity to triple up on a team that wasn't in that sort of traditional big 6, this is it.
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. I disagree with what you said about Evan Ferguson. I think his spot is his to lose. I think Welbeck. Yeah, I just think I had a look and he's got 22 points since the restart. Harry Kane's got 27, so he's only on 5 less points than Harry Kane. And everyone seems to have Harry Kane. Like 4.5. I think if he was a 4.5 and he was only a young lad who was getting game time, but he wasn't scoring goals or the system wasn't working and the work, like Brighton as a team weren't linking up as well together.
Yeah.
But I think the proof has been that when Evan Ferguson's been in the team, he's scoring, but he's also assisting as well. So he's getting involved in everything about their attack and play. And I know Danny Welbeck got a return, which is great for him. But I mean, in the future, like maybe in 4 or 5 weeks, if Ferguson doesn't keep up his returns, then I suggest maybe Danny Welbeck might pose a risk to Ferguson's minutes. But I think in the immediate future, I honestly can't see it really affecting things, because we don't really know De Zerbi well enough to say what his rotation's like, and we know he likes to change things up a little bit, but I don't think he would change a team like drastically by taking out their lone striker essentially, who's bagging goals. I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. Been wrong many times.
The good thing with getting him though is that if you did get him, you could afford Kane and Haaland up front, plus probably another premium in midfield.
Yeah. Before we move on, then, who would be your triple up then for Brighton? Because you mentioned 1 in defence, 1 in attack, 1 in midfield.
I'd keep it simple.
What would they be?
Dunk at 4.7. If you don't have the money, you're sticking on a 4.5 in that case. I'd go for Welbeck or Ferguson up front. Whatever you've got from this conversation, I think I will go Ferguson, because at 4.5, I barely think he's a risk. I think it's a case of, well, you know what, I've got to play. He might play a 4.5 striker, and I can move to a 4-4-2, because in game week 23, I want Harry Kane, and I'm not getting rid of Haaland. So in terms of my team and my structure, I want Haaland and Kane as my strikers, and why not have Ferguson up front? You know what, I can play him. If he gets game time, gets points, fantastic. If Welbeck comes in, he can sit on my bench like any other 4.5 would, regardless. And I think you could be right. It might be a case of, you know what, he's going to get the next couple. And that's all I need until Harry Kane comes in anyway. And then I think I'm probably going to go with Matoma. Again, for price. And he just looks so dangerous. Solly March, fair enough. You know what, he's bagged a couple. But he's got 3. How many has he got? He's got 4 in his last 4 games. Before that, he had none in 16.
Right.
I don't know. He might just be on a streak. Might be a bit streaky. It is obviously all since the restart.
Yeah.
It could be one of those where you go for Solly March because he's doing a Jesse Lingard, he's doing a Joe Willock, he's doing a Miguel Almiron. Do you know where he's doing a Bernardo Silva? Where, do you know, like for 8 weeks you just need to have him because he's going to score.
Yeah, he could shoot from his own box and it would somehow nestle in the top corner. Yeah.
So it depends whether you believe in stuff like that. I'd say the one to avoid is probably Gross, because Shai plays like holding midfield for them.
Well, if SofaScore's lineups are anything to believe, then he plays right back all the time.
No, I tell you
that's not right.
So yeah, I think you go for in midfield Solly March or Matoma. I think you pick one of those two, if not both. If you wanted to sack off the forward situation, go for them both.
It's not a bad shout.
Dependent on everyone's individual teams and where they can make moves, where they've got fires, that sort of thing. But I would be bringing them in, and I would be willing to take a hit to go triple Brighton.
Interesting.
Good thing to say.
Very. I mean, they were already good under Potter, weren't they? But I feel like there's only been one winner from Graham Potter going to Chelsea, and it's been Brighton, without a doubt. Unbelievable. Yeah, I think that settles us for Brighton. I think that's great. Next thing we need to talk about then is Arsenal attack. They've got a double coming up in game week 21, I think it is. So we have talked about that previously. We have
20
again.
We're in 21 at the minute.
We are 23.
So I mean they're in
22, 23.
So sorry, we're in 20 at the minute. We are moving into 21. They'll have a double in 23. Sorry.
Yeah, we got a bit confused there, but no, 23. 2 and a 3, 23. So yeah, obviously we've got that double coming up as well, but Arsenal are just looking unbeatable at the minute, aren't they? So based on that, should we be tripling up? Again, the whole Brighton thing, we want to have as many good teams, players in our teams. What would be the best triple up? Because they've got an amazing fixture run, right? I would even say the next game against Man United at home isn't the worst game because they're at home. Just like that crazy luck kind of thing that you were just mentioned before, that I feel like that's the case with their whole team at the minute. Like their whole team are turning up and they're just getting everything. Like they're getting everything their own way, and it doesn't matter what they do, they seem to come away with 3 points. So that Man United game, although I think it'll be probably tougher than the Man City, I think that there's a good chance that they come away with 1 or 2 goals. What do you reckon to Arsenal?
So for Arsenal, obviously, I think the only team to beat them this season are Man United, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
And I think Man United are the most informed team in the league at the moment.
Yep.
More than Arsenal. I think they've won the last 6 games. Arsenal have won 5 and drawn 1 against the Mighty Mags. So Man United I don't think it's an easy game for anyone at the minute. I think they're a real threat. I think Man United are more of a threat than Man City at this present moment in time because they seem absolutely all over the shop. That being said, the triple up on Arsenal is a great idea. I just personally wait until game week 22. I think if we're looking at game week 21 moving forward, prioritise Brighton. Don't worry about Arsenal this week. If you've got them, you can play them. And then for 22, they've got Everton, double in 23 against Brentford and Man City. Then they've got Villa, then they've got Leicester, then they've got Bournemouth. But I think you're right in a sense that they are generally fixture proof. I think Man United at home, not the fact that it's at home, doesn't really matter, but I think Man United is going to be probably the toughest game they've had this year as well, like along with the other game that they had at Old Trafford. So not in a rush to get them in. I have 1 Arsenal player, as everyone knows. I sold 2 of my triple up because I didn't want them until February or whatever terrible decision I decided to make. And Odegaard just went off. He was one that I sold as well as Martinelli. And I think they belong to sort of possibly the best triple up. I think Odegaard is the number 1 when you're looking at a triple up. I was delighted to have him the first time. I got loads of points off him, and he was just going under the radar.
He's now about 26% owned.
Yeah, he's not under the radar anymore.
He's climbing. He's getting to a point of ownership where if you don't own him, he's going to seriously damage your rank.
And rightfully so. I think he's been the best player in the league this season.
Yeah, I honestly, I think he's hitting like Kevin De Bruyne levels. Whereas Kevin is dropping off a cliff in terms of form. Like I think I had a look, by the way, 51 midfielders have performed better than Kevin De Bruyne since the restart. He's only got like 11 points. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has got more FPL points than Kevin De Bruyne since the restart. So yeah, I think you're looking at like any successful team, like in recent history, or any team that's won the league has had one player who consistently throughout the season has performed at their highest level for like that anyone's seen from them forever. And in this scenario, it's Martin Odegaard. Like he's totally and utterly came to the fore and kind of presented himself as a world-class player in the league.
Yeah, totally agree.
And how much is he? What's like 7 million? If
No,
that? Is he cheaper than that?
6.8. I had him and sold him at 6.4. So that was really good by me.
Lovely. So we're saying we need Odegaard.
Yep.
Another one of my
Odegaard.
Yeah.
I think beyond that, Martinelli. I think Saka's a better pick than Martinelli in terms of probably going to get you a few more points, but he's an extra 1.3 million, I think he is. So
is that enough for the fact that he's on pens? Is it worth paying another 1.3 million? What?
Also, he's not on pens. So for Arsenal, if one of the forward players wins it, they take it. That's the rule. If a defender wins it or Partey wins it, Saka takes them. But if Martinelli wins the pen, he takes it.
I did not know that. That's
so it's same with Nketiah, same with Jesus. Whoever wins it takes it.
Right.
It's just like I say, if someone put like for us in that game when there's a Gabriel that got pulled back, if that was a pen, Saka would take it because Gabriel's going to take the pen. So I think Martinelli, just for his price, is probably looking at the better option. That being said, we've got to remember Europe is right round the corner with this lot. So it depends on what is going to be prioritised. I think Mikel Arteta is going to have to prioritise the league because of the position. So I'm not really too stressed.
The only thing that stresses me about Martinelli now is Smith Rowe is returning to fitness.
Yeah,
and
but
he was playing regularly at the when Arteta first took over.
He did.
Smith Rowe was the guy.
He was, but he's getting Saint-Maximin treatment and he's getting 2 minutes at the end of a game. He's not fit enough. No way he's coming in ahead of Martinelli anytime soon. I think the Europa League games is probably where he's going to get his minutes. Or is it Europa League that they're in or Europa Conference? Can't remember which one they're in.
It's Europa League. It's definitely not Champions League because
they dropped the fifth in because some pesky team in the north,
some team with flags made them
loads of flags everywhere, white flags by the Arsenal players. So I think those are the ones that you go for. However, I'd highly recommend going for a defender. They've got the second best defense in the league after Eddie Howe's Mighty Mags. And it's just, I feel it's a reliable source of points without being too sexy. And it's obviously about, do you want triple Arsenal in midfield? Because it limits where you can get other midfielders from. But yeah, I think Ben White's the outstanding pick because he's 4.7 opposed to 500 or 5.3. If you aren't shy for cash, then yeah, you could go for one of the centre backs because they seem to be a bit more of a goal threat. Maybe Zinchenko comes back into a little bit, but I think Ben White, for the money that he is, offers the best value. We got 8 points again. He's getting bonus playing at right back now because he's getting what he started to do. Kieran Trippier's at right back, where yes, he might not be the one that gets the goals, but he's putting in balls into the box and he's getting bonus when they keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, see, I wish, thinking back, because at the restart when we had unlimited transfers, I brought in Gabriel because I was going to mention something before, but I feel like when you're trying to judge between like two players, so like in this case Martinelli and Saka or Gabriel and White, going for the cheaper option just because they're cheaper isn't always the best way, especially when we've talked about already the fact that we've got so many good cheap options, the likes of Matoma, the likes of Evan Ferguson, and likes of how Almiron's been performing.
Yeah, true.
Like we don't have a need anymore for budget saving because there's already so many budget saving options. But for example, if I had the choice now of going Martinelli or Saka, I would 100% be going Saka purely because I don't need to save. I've got that money just chilling. I mean, I don't have Kane, but there's savings to be made everywhere. Like the optimum defense at the minute is quite a cheap one because you've got, if you don't have Shaw, if you don't have Botman, you don't have Trippier, and one other maybe 5 million, like that's probably the play at the minute, isn't it? That's like an Arsenal, like 5 million or below Arsenal defender. So because of that, you've got so much money to push towards the rest of the field. Gone are the days when you had to have Trent and Robertson, which was like, what, 14 million gone immediately. So although I totally understand going like White over Gabriel because he's playing right back, we don't necessarily have to look at, oh, he's cheaper, so he's, yeah.
Yeah. But what I'd say with White is they've got 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, and he's gotten the bonus twice. Gabriel hasn't gotten in any, and he has been booked.
Yep.
Saliba has gotten in 1. So Ben White in the last 2 games, we can say the last 4 games, it makes no difference because neither Saliba or Gabriel scored and Arsenal conceded. So in the last 4 games in that case, Ben White has got 4. He's got 3 bonus points. Gabriel has none, and Saliba has 1. So I just think it's come from a change in how he's playing on that right-hand side. Yeah. Now that he's not just, you know how we've obviously got that joke in our Twitter chat about how
don't say it.
About how Trippier bombs on because Burn covers and cuts in and forms a back 3%, whatever. And obviously that's actually gone now. Like
brand new information.
I know, it's unbelievable tactical now. I feel like Danny Murphy with hair. But now Dan Burn is just playing as a left back. He seems to have fitted in. There's a bit more cohesion, and now that he's settled into playing as a left back, he's now just playing as a left back. The same thing happened with Ben White. So when Zinchenko used to start, Ben White and Zinchenko would play as underlapping fullbacks, so they'd come into the middle to strengthen midfield with Partey, so they'd have like a defensive 3 with then Saliba and Gabriel behind them, and then they'd split it into 2, 5 at the back, then 5 going forward to allow Xhaka to push up high and get touches in the box, Odegaard to play in the 10 and drop, and then it was just a really good way of playing. But when Zinchenko got injured, they thought, well, we're not going to play it that way. Tierney doesn't really do it that way. Anyone else covering's not going to do it that way. And Ben White just learned how to be a right back. So he's now getting on the outside and putting balls into the box, and it's boosting his bonus potential. So although he might not have that explosive nature of maybe scoring a goal, he's consistently, I think, going to get more points from this stage than Gabriel or Saliba.
Yeah, I agree. And trust me to pay more money for the defender who does not get bonus points.
Yeah, and yellow cards.
Fountain of knowledge. But I'm like I say, I'm doing really well since the restart. I didn't mention it before.
I've heard.
I didn't mention it before, but I'm doing really well. all of the gloating that I missed out on at the start of the season, I feel like I need to make up for.
You've got it.
Make up for now. I'm making up for lost time. So, just one little thing before we stop talking about Arsenal. So they only have 2 players in the top 20 most expensive players in the game, but the top 20 highest point scorers so far, they've got 6 players in there. So, like we mentioned before, I don't think when it comes to your Arsenal triple up, money shouldn't be an object. You should be able to easily get 3 of the Arsenal players you want based on because they're just good value.
Yeah.
Now, I had a little look at, obviously I mentioned the top 20 high scoring players so far. I had a little look at the top 40 because I wanted to see what the spread was in terms of players. Now, it's quite obvious based on how the teams are doing in the league to a certain extent. So, out of the top 40 point scorers so far, Arsenal have 20% of their players in that top 40, which is quite high. I think it's about 8. Newcastle are second with 15% with 6 players. Man City have 10%, so they've got 4. And then from there, it's like an even spread of just like total randomness. But can you guess the 5 clubs that have 0 players in the top 40 highest point scorers so far in FPL?
How many clubs?
5.
5 have 0.
Yeah.
Oof. Right, let's look at the fixtures. Wolves.
No.
And then on it.
So Wolves, Saw is in the top 40, which is quite surprising, actually.
West Ham.
Yep. Nobody, because they're terrible.
West Ham.
I told you I was going to put you on the spot, didn't I?
Yeah, but there's
Just throw some guesses out there, because then I'll be able to tell you.
Everton.
Yep. Because their fans are absolutely mental.
Oh, I've got a feeling Eze might be in there, but Palace?
No, so Palace have Zaha and Eze in the top 40. Yes, Wilfred Zaha actually has scored points, but it'll be when you haven't owned him.
Yes. The only Leicester player could be Madison.
Leicester have, let me find them. Yeah, just Madison. Just Madison. Do you want a clue? Just think either bottom end of the table, or have struggled either now or at the very start of the season. Forest? No, they actually have one player. They've got Dean Henderson.
I can't keep on guessing because it's just
So you've got
all the teams.
So you've got West Ham. You said Everton, didn't you?
Yeah.
You've got 3 more to get. So who's had an? Yes. So that's 4. Sorry. So that's 2 left. So Bournemouth have none. Who've recently changed manager and are starting to perform better.
Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea have no players in the top 40 because he keeps rotating his team and they've been god awful. 1 more to get, mate.
Southampton.
No, they have
Che Adams,
James Ward-Prowse. Che Adams isn't in the top 40, but they've got James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah. Go on, tell us the last one then.
Good evening.
Oh, Aston Villa.
Yeah, Aston Villa don't have anybody in the top 40 because again they were absolutely terrible before the restart, which is interesting. I enjoyed having.
Would have been in there.
Nah, no Leon Bailey. To be fair, Chelsea just missed out. I think Mason Mount was just behind the threshold, like the cut-off mark. But yeah, the likes of Liverpool only have 2 players within the top 40. Like is obscene, like absolutely obscene. Brighton had 3, so Gross, March, and Trossard. But obviously Trossard, I can imagine, is going to drop out by the end of the season. Brentford had 3. They've got Ben Mee is in the top 40 highest point scorers this season. Rhea, the goalkeeper, and Ivan Toney. Tottenham only have 2. Can you guess who they are?
Kane.
Yeah.
Tottenham have 2. Højbjerg.
Yeah, well done. Good shout. And go on, last thing. I'll put you on the spot one last time because you're going to have to do it for what's the point. For me, there's 6 Newcastle players.
6 Newcastle players?
6 Newcastle players in the top 40.
The top 40, right. Nick Pope,
yep.
Kieran Trippier.
Yep.
Sven Botman.
Yep.
Fabian Shaw.
Yep. Share.
Miguel Almiron.
Yep. He's from Blythe.
Well, I didn't know if Dan Burn would be in or not. Dan Burn.
He is. I just wanted to start singing it. So yeah, that's that. That was a lovely little that made all that research totally worth it. Shall we just talk some transfers and captaincy very quickly? Any quick plans that you've got in mind?
And then a quick round of what's the
point?
What's the point, League?
What's the point, man?
The point, man. You know, right. Transfers. I'm probably going to bring in a Brighton player. I want rid of all of my players. Honestly, I could wildcard this week. I'm in that sort of mood, but I'm going to try and be patient. I've been asked by people not to bin off Zaha this week.
Yeah,
playing Newcastle. As soon as I've bin him, he's gonna get points.
Instant hat-trick.
But I'm sorry, I'd be benching him anyway, so I'm probably going to get rid of him. for a Brighton midfielder, most likely Matoma. I think that is my move for the week. It depends on Martial's injury, because if he's still yellow flagged or red flagged, or we think he's not going to... In fact, he's at Arsenal anyway. Who have Man United got after Arsenal? They have the Palace at home, then Leeds away. Yeah, I want to keep Martial.
Yeah, I'm keeping Martial.
So yeah, I'll probably get rid of Zaha and bring in Matoma. I think that's my move. And then I might even be benching players like Salah or Foden. I've got Dunk against Leicester. I've got Rodrigo versus Brentford. I've got Kyle Walker versus Wolves. Why would I?
Yeah, good point. Good point. My start players who aren't doing well. One little bit of advice: if you are going to bring in a Brighton midfielder this week, make sure you don't bench them when they get 19 points. Daryl. That was poor.
Oh, Daryl.
Poor Daryl. Poor Daryl. Bless him. Literally in the WhatsApp group, he was like, I've got Solly March. I transferred him this week. And there was just like 3 messages of, oh my God, how many points he got? And then there was just the final message saying, benched. Fuck.
He went, fuck. Bench.
Oh.
Fuck.
But then that wasn't even the best bit, because it went on to discover that he had Sanchez, who got 7 points. Then he also had, who else did he have who got 7? He got another 7 points from somebody else. And then he had Saliba, who got 7 as well, like in the Tottenham game. So he had a sea of 7s, and then this just 19 slap bang in the middle of his bench.
To be fair, the keeper that he had, didn't he play? He had Ramsdale in goal. So Ramsdale got more points than Sanchez, because I remember trying to easily suffer that one. I was like, hey, you got a point gain on that. It was this one when let's hope someone doesn't play then. All those double game week players, more chance for rocking or shitting than him getting on.
Right. Okay, we'll quickly move on. I just wanted to get that in there because we nearly forgot.
Yeah. I think I've got to captain Haaland against Wolves. I think that has to be.
I don't see that's a week to kind of deviate from the norm. I have wrote down some suggestions, some like bits of fun that you could have. So my thoughts, I want to take. I'm at a stage where I've had Son for 1 week and I already want to get rid of him, even though he plays Fulham away, because that fixture is tricky anyway. And Son's just god awful. Whatever's going on with his mask, he just can't seem to play with it on. Or he's just had a kind of Space Jam alien scenario and lost all his football ability. So it's who to bring in. The easy. Well, actually, it's not easy, because I'd literally be bringing Son out, who's playing Fulham, and bringing in Odegaard, who plays Man United at home, which I don't think is the best idea. I do fancy a little punt on James Ward-Prowse, because Southampton's fixtures are unbelievable, and James Ward-Prowse is playing further up the pitch. So that's something that I could do. And I might learn me lesson from me Morgan Gibbs-White tip and actually take my own advice and do that.
Yes.
So that's a potential move that I could make. I could make a boring move and take out Ward and bring in Nick Pope and triple up on Newcastle defence. Was my other idea, but I don't really like making goalkeeper transfers. I could also make a boring 4.5 million striker to another 4.5 million striker transfer and bring in Ferguson. So that would mean I would have a Brighton triple up of Dunk, Mitoma and Ferguson. Or I could do Martial to Tony, which is probably like far down on my list. Because like you've just mentioned, Martial's fixtures after this week coming are actually better. And there's arguments to be made about how much Wout Weghorst's presence in that team is going to affect Martial's minutes. But
yeah,
it's worth keeping him for the minute, because it's not like he's expensive. So yeah, that's me. And in terms of captaincy, Haaland against Wolves is probably the no-brainer. But if I start to get a bit of a itch to take some risks, Kane against Fulham. I don't have Kane, but if you have Kane, then Kane might. He normally does well away from home against lower level teams who are going to try and attack, because they're good for a goal, but Spurs have been absolutely horrible. A Brighton player against Leicester, that's the fun. I've literally written in my notes in capital letters, fun, underline. So if you want to enjoy like Mitoma against Leicester,
Brave.
it'd be like mega brave. But like we talked before, Leicester are awful, like awful. And my other one that I scribbled down was trips against Palace away, because anybody who's been paying any attention to Kieran Trippier will notice he's just a sea of like 7 and 8 pointers, 7, 8, and 9 pointers every week.
He's on since he's on an unbelievable points run. But if we look at just from match day 14, 11, 12, 7, 12, 8, 8, 9.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not captaining him yet. I put a post out on Twitter the other day because I'd noticed he's got 133 points. He's only got 80 more points to go at the halfway point of the season to beat Andy Robertson's record of the highest ever points total for a defender. He's only got in that. I think that was an average of like 4. He's got average 4.2 points a game for the rest of the season to beat that record. And bearing in mind, he's getting 7 and 8 pointers every week. Like, he's going to have a massive drop off.
Yeah.
So yeah, Captain Trips is in my thoughts because he's having in terms of FPL, like the scope of FPL, he's just outperforming everybody for his value and his position. Quick game of what's the point? Woo!
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Woo!
Woo!
There we go.
Yes. So, got a theme for you. So,
God.
Last week it was you wanted to bring out Mount, and the choice was between Son and Morgan Gibbs-White. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So they 3 players.
That's canny.
Mount,
That's a bit
Morgan
hurtful.
White and Son.
Morgan Gibbs. Sorry. So Mount, Morgan Gibbs-White, and Son. Ooh, Morgan Gibbs-White's been injured. Whereas Son's played every game. Really, he
I haven't even
scored.
looked at the points. I actually don't.
What do you mean?
know.
You've not even looked at the points?
No.
Right.
Yes, good. They all have different amounts of points. I did have a quick look, but I didn't know the order. I just checked to make sure they had different numbers of points.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the level of preparation that you get from Gallowgateshots YouTube content.
It was because obviously you were telling me this narrative early doors. I was like, that's it. I just need to double check they don't have the same amount of points.
Right.
As soon as you mentioned those, I was like, yes, we're made out of those 3. I think that's a canny good way of doing. What's the point?
Okay, I'm going to go Morgan Gibbs-White, Son, Mount.
Mount has 72. Morgan Gibbs-White has 70. Son has 67.
Well, I failed miserably there, didn't I? That was great.
What
an anticlimax.
Morgan Gibbs-White has 3 more points than Son.
Unbelievable. Get him in your teams. Nottingham Forest are sustainably performing very, 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 very well. And he's quite high up the pitch. But anyway, I'm quite sad. So you're still 3-2 up for now. And yeah, I think we'll have a little look at the Gallowgateshots mini league, even though we've still got 2 games to play. So there's a bit of a caveat there. It's probably likely to change because I've noticed that there's 2 points separating 3rd and 2nd and 2 points separating 2nd and 1st. So it's very, very tight at the top. We have got, if you want to know, I'm 221st, by the way. Not a brag or anything.
140th.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that might change. I might catch you up. We'll see. Ian Malcolm is currently top of the league still with 1,249 points. Then we've got Scott Hutchinson with 1,247 points. And those of you who listen to what I've just said and are good at maths will know that Liam Woodfine is on 1,245 points.
If he is indeed a real person.
Which we don't know. I might even ask I don't know why we haven't asked the Telegram group. He might actually be in the Telegram group. He might be a member.
I think he's an animagus.
Because we all know the people who are members of the Gallowgateshots channel are all very, very knowledgeable about football and clever people. So the top 3 are all definitely members, I'm sure of it. They've got good taste in football and good footballing knowledge. They know ball, as the young people would say.
I think I've just been sick in my mouth.
At least I didn't say it like with a serious, like a proper, like brap.
Yeah, it's the most ironic thing in the world, isn't it? When people say, "Oh, you don't know ball if," because I just want to finish that sentence with, "If you use the sentence, you don't know ball. If you refer to football as ball."
I'm a bit concerned that
Such an
we've probably lost. We could have just potentially lost 50% of our viewership.
Yeah, but we don't want those viewers.
We don't. We don't want those people.
Goddamn integrity.
No, don't darken our door again.
Yeah.
Right, we've gone for like well over again, but I feel like we've had a lovely chat. If anything, if you haven't enjoyed it watching this, we've enjoyed ourselves, and that's all that matters. So,
care about you.
no, but seriously, but seriously, keep watching because just it's good for our morale. So it's not good for your FPL scores or rank or anything, but
no, we are detrimental.
So yeah, I think we'll just call it there. Call it there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. We joke around, but it's very very nice to see those views go up and obviously see the comments. We even I nearly had a full on conversation with somebody in the comments last week. It was just a nice hello, which I responded to promptly. It didn't go anywhere.
It was a sex call.
Are you sure?
100%.
That person might actually be quite upset by that. Yeah, I hope it wasn't a sex box. That would be quite embarrassing. Bye.